Hello, good evening, everyone. So let me just add the boys in for a little bit of an impromptu Wings Monthly this month. To obviously we try and cap it to an hour. So give me a second while I turn the camera off. Evening, gents. Evening,
Let's go.
Jamie. Evening, Christian. Right, I'm just trying to add young Daniel in. Well, I've added him. Hopefully, I've added him. He'll clock on that I've tried to add him. Anyhow, fingers crossed that he joins. Hope you're well. You're okay, lads?
Not too bad. What about yourself?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Just in the middle of obviously the hardest month of the year. Of course, working in retail.
Dry your eyes. Will you dry your eyes?
Oh, mate, it's bloody horrible. It's not so, but it's a young man's game. It really is, honestly. So a young person's game, a young man, woman, or non-binary.
You were right. You were right the first time.
Yeah, it's tough, mate. It's tough
Yeah.
as you get older. But I've learned a really important trick this morning: is if your back hurts after a couple of hours of working, preempt it. Have some painkillers 2 hours before you start working. Life's easy. Honestly, it made such a difference. Bear with me. Let me try and I see Dan has just joined, so let me just try and invite him in.
What about yourself, Christian? How are you?
I'm well. Merry Christmas, lads.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry
Hey, Dan.
Christmas to you all. Hello, Dan.
Evening, everybody. All you lovely lot.
So, and yeah, look, I've got the boys together because I did a long-winded post yesterday about not having much time to do stuff this month because it is horrendous. And originally, as I did, I wanted to get Charlie from Night Fright on, but Charlie's been struck down with this horrible 4-week flu thing that everyone seems to be getting.
Yeah.
Honestly, I had a cough for forever. And it's finally sort of started to dissipate now. But I've been pretty crappy the last sort of 3-4 weeks. But Charlie from Night Fright's been really ill as well. So I postponed Charlie to January. So we're going to do a double bill in January with Charlie from Night Fright. And then we're going to do, hopefully, Michael and David from Corgi again to sort of go over the Corgi catalogue. But what I've sort of done is got the three lads together tonight to discuss the upcoming Corgi 2025 catalogue. Also, we'll touch upon this survey that's been sent out to a load of Corgi customers. If you're important like Billy Big Bollocks here, you would have got it and filled it in as well. And it's quite interesting. But I'll share all the sort of the options that were sent out a little bit later. But lads, obviously a new face on, a bearded face. I'm a little bit disappointed, Christian. Is that a beard? Your beard disappeared.
I haven't had the beard for a while, mate. I don't think
that's not acceptable. Not acceptable. You didn't get the memo, Christian.
Well, apparently it's a condition of service at the moment for New South Wales ambulance not to have a beard. Mind you, there are people with a beard, so I'm not quite
beardism. Sure. You should take out a grievance on your health service.
Yeah. I want a big grievance with New South Wales ambulance. No, I don't know. I'm just going through a clean-shaven period of my life at the moment. So head, beard, the whole lot.
No, mate, that's too much hassle. It's too much hassle.
Oh, no, I look younger. Yeah. I don't see it myself, but I'm a little younger.
I think you look lovely.
Let's not get carried away now, Christian.
I think you look lovely.
Yeah.
Yes, you look about 45. Not a day older.
This is the point where he goes, well, I'm only 26.
Well,
Jamie, do you want to introduce? I mean, everybody knows who me, Dan, and Christian are. So, Jamie, do you want to just do a brief introduction?
Yeah, I'm Jamie. I'm from Northern Ireland. I've been collecting model aircraft for God knows how many years now. Wanted to be a fighter pilot when I was a kid.
Didn't we all?
High school principal said, "Don't be silly. There's no need for that." And then the following January, it was the first Gulf War, so there was a need for it. Joined the ATC, went over to Lossiemouth to 617 Squadron. Absolutely loved it. Then just fell out of love with aviation and just did other things. And then came back to it, and then when I realised that I didn't have to build Airfix kits anymore, I would just go and get whatever corgi I could find, which it wasn't much over here in Northern Ireland. So just eBay was the way to go. So yeah, just been collecting for God knows how many years. I blame my older brother. He got into it when they first released the civilian airliners in '98. And he had all the constellations that they produced. And then I think it was 2 years later, they did the Flying Aces range. It was the 8 in the sort of orange color boxes. So those are the ones that I got first. And then it's just grown since then. I've got so many planes, I don't know what I have anymore.
26 years ago.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm giving away my age. I'm giving away my age. So yeah, I've things that have never seen the light of day, and I know that I have them, but where they are and if I can find them is another thing.
They're there somewhere. That's the most important thing, mate.
Yeah.
Off goes the code. So anyhow, so we're going to have a brief discussion around what we think is going to be coming or what we'd like to see coming. I did sort of generate a bit of chat on the Facebook page around it. So I'll start with Dan in the bottom right corner to me. So Dan, any thoughts what you think is going to be coming?
I'm going to hold my hand up, Mark, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. For the last week, I have not given corgi. I'm not giving it a second thought. We've been absolutely tied up with the bug in this household as well. So it's been a case of get through every day leading up to Christmas with 2 excited kids and a poorly wife. What do I think?
Life.
What do I think corgi is going to do in 2025? I don't think their 148th Tornado is going to see the light of day for another few years. I would like to think they're going to rework it, if I'm being brutally honest. I'd like to see some news in 2025 to say, look, we realise we've made a cock-up. We don't want to completely scrap this off. We are going to rework it in regards to that. Whether that'll happen or not, I don't know. In regards to releases, I can see another 148 Typhoon coming out.
What would you think the scheme would be? Seek and Destroy is one that sort of pops up. I know obviously Hobby Master's just done a banging job on theirs. I wonder whether that's probably the next most famous, because they've done a plain grey, they've done blackjack. Moggy is obviously the one that I guess would be the most prominent. I can't see them doing 3 display jets. At the
if they pull the money, if they pull the money, they pull the money. Depends how well Blackjack's gone. If Blackjack's gone well, which from what I've seen on the forums on the Facebook pages, then why not? So I mean,
it'll be Moggy.
Yeah,
I've
got a feeling it could possibly. I think it could be towards the latter end of next year, maybe. Yeah. Are they doing 2? I don't know what corgi are releasing.
I would imagine one per catalogue is. They don't really want to flood the market with the same gear, do they?
No. I'd like to see my collections. God knows where my collection's going at the minute. 100th bomb group B-17.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have said that.
Everyone's been creaming their pants over that, but it's a bit sort of after the horse has bolted, isn't it?
Without sounding horrible, that's kind of the corgi way. I like corgi. I've got nothing against corgi at all. I think they're a fantastic brand, but there's been several times where they've had a target to hit and they've had the perfect opportunity to release something and haven't.
I mean, what I would say is, obviously, I don't know if anybody's aware of this now. They obviously got a new CEO because Lyndon Davis, bless him, obviously stepped down about 18 months ago now. It was very quietly sort of moved aside, and obviously Lyndon's had his health troubles. So, and hopefully, I've seen some videos recently. He's been, he's fighting, he's trying to get as fit as he can again. Bless him, and he's overcoming some massive obstacles. So, well wishes to him. But they're owned now by the Frasers Group, and obviously Frasers Group are known for being pretty cutthroat, and dare I say, being pretty tight as well. But what they are known for doing is turning around failing businesses. And corgi isn't necessarily a failing business, but Hornby is. So it'd be interesting to see whether there's now going to be more drive to get things out on time, and not necessarily. I mean, getting them out on time at the moment, they're doing a really good job.
100%.
It's just
it's more it's more the
going with what's
targets.
current.
It's the targets for the certain releases. So, prime example, 148 Blackjack. They released that after the thing's just been. It's just gone last year to be ground. It's gone.
Yeah.
Parts,
It's an old T1 Typhoon. So I mean, it's gone. The prime time to do that would have been on its first display circuit.
Yeah.
Look at Johnny Johnson's Dambuster Lane.
Yeah.
There's been numerous occasions where they've had a perfect time to do it and they've missed it. So no, don't get me wrong. I would love to see them hit some targets, not targets as in the release date that they've set, but what they're releasing it for, if that makes sense.
Hasn't Moggy just been moved up to the Lossiemouth?
Has indeed,
So
yeah.
that's not on
It's
the
an
display
instructional
circuit
airframe.
anymore.
Yeah.
So they'll probably release Moggy then next year because it's not on the circuit anymore.
Quite
Well,
possibly.
this is still there.
Depends if it'll be. I don't know how long it'll be up there for. It's an old T1, so it won't see.
It's instructional airframe, so his flying life is over.
Yeah.
But it's been worked on obviously by the engineers up there for whatever reason. So at least the airframe is preserved for now. I mean, I don't know what the long-term plan is for it, but that's a wise decision. I can't believe Blackjack wasn't included in that. It didn't go to Duxford. Bear in mind, Duxford offloaded their one to Cosford, I believe, isn't it? So it seems crazy decision for such an iconic airframe, as much as it hasn't got service history as such. It's more, it's been seen by millions of people, yet they've just sent it away for parts.
It's such a waste, because if you look at what the Americans do, they keep everything and they tell their public everything about the planes and what they've done and everything about them in the museums, and we just seem to end their lives sooner than they should have been done. Like the Tornado is still flying in some countries, the Harrier is still flying in some countries, and we just scrap it and then get rid of it. We don't preserve anything anymore, and that's a real shame.
We'd rather turn them into Heinz baked bean cans.
Yeah, it's
mental,
crazy.
really, Jamie, because G&A Typhoon, the display jet from what we're going back now nearly 10 years,
2015, I think, wasn't it? Yeah,
it's still flying. We saw it when we were up at Coningsby this year. It's still in its operational grade scheme. So I mean, that's still going. So yeah, it's I don't know whether we'll see another display jet anytime soon.
What are the Aussies like for that, Christian? If they have a display jet, do they just repaint it and then just put it back into service?
Yes, generally speaking, they do. But with there was a whole heap of display jets for the end of the FA-18, and a lot of them ended up in museums. So the one with the Aboriginal art, that's in Fightertown Museum at Ralph Williamtown. And I think there's another one somewhere that's also being kept. So we've had a little bit of rash of F-18s in special schemes going to museums. I think there's 2 or 3. But generally speaking, no. The Mirage had a history of special schemes. I mean, people don't realise it, but the Mirage 3 had a heap of special schemes. But I suspect that Britain, like Australia, is going through the same thing. We've got these boring grey jets because of their special coding. They can't have any special schemes anymore. So that sort of thing, I think, is just going to become less and less. And also, the money for it is probably drying up as well, as the warfighters try and stick to warfighting tasks as opposed to legacy and heritage and that sort of thing. I think that's not in the United States, but I suspect Australia, like England, Britain, are going down the same road. It's becoming and a lot of it's over money.
It is, not always.
Sorry, Dan, we completely hijacked your bit there, mate.
Whatever. You know me. I'll go with the flow. In regards to going back to Corgi, I ain't got a clue, really. Not a clue. I find it quite. Whenever the catalogue comes out, I find it's just a nice surprise just seeing what if there's anything there potentially that I'd want to grab. I tell you what I would love to, and this is a little bit of a selfish one for me, so apologies. I mentioned the 100 Bond Group B17. I'd love to see another Grafton 384th Bomb Group B17 because I live not far away from the old airfield. I would love to see another one of them. That would be a nice one. But apart from that, not a clue. Not a clue. Like most things these days, not a bloody clue.
I'd love to.
It's the anticipation that gets you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain I know one, which I'll get to a little bit further down the line. But so, Christian, now you're a man of many ideas and wants and hopes. What are you going to go for?
I think the 100 Bond Group B17 is a no-brainer. I think that's I know they're a year or two late, but that's just typical Corey.
But will an RAF one come first, do you think? What about the RAF one? Because they won't go both.
I've given up on the, is it 223 Squadron B17? Yeah, no, I've given up on that. I just don't understand why they haven't done it. I've been crapping on about it for about 15 years. It's the last Bomber Command 4-engine bomber that still hasn't been done. And Corgi, just won't do it. I'm told, I have been told a couple of times in the past it's because of the chin sensors, etc., and that's a bit hard to do. But I call that bollocks because Frank Lamint managed it, and also Corgi did a 144 version of it. So it's not it's not out of the realm.
So just to add to that, they've obviously started adding bits like the Lancaster, the C-47 when they did Night Fight. So actually, it's more doable now than it's ever been doable. So I mean, for me, it would be silly now to do the RAF one with the 100th Bomb Group and all the Focus and Fort Abbots and obviously Mastered the Air and that. But I mean, we never know, do we? They'll probably just do a random. I mean, but then you've got Sally B as well. Yeah. Sally B is the most iconic fortress, certainly in Europe.
Yeah.
So you've got that as well. And obviously, there's it could be completely random what we see.
There's a plethora of. I actually have an interesting question about what Corgi's going to do, and I'm talking about two toolings.
Yeah, go on.
The F4 and the Lightning. Are we going to see a different mark? Are we going to see the FGR2 for the Phantom, and are we going to see something other than the Mark 6 with the E Lightning? What do you lads reckon? Do you reckon it's
48
for a change?
Both of those molds. Well, both of those models are absolutely exceptional. Now they fixed the canopy issue on the Phantom. Yeah. I don't know how much tooling change it would take.
There's a bit of the Lightning. I mean, I have I want the F3A, the Gutterslow 92 Squadron and 19 Squadron Lightning, that wonderful, beautiful green colour. Yeah. So that will require some changes. The FGR2, I don't think so, but the FGR2, you have the snebs and the GP bombs and that, that ground attack role again. I'd love to see that. So, it's a question. It's going to happen eventually. It will happen eventually. So have we run out of Mark 6 schemes for the Lightning, do you think? Or
I think it does need a bit of variation, doesn't it? I mean, the Lightning is exceptional. It's an absolutely stunning bit of kit. I mean, the 3 they've released so far, all of them are absolutely top.
When was the third one released? When was
a year and a half, 2 years ago now.
It's due.
Yeah, so
it's due. The tooling's due for a release. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we see it this coming in January.
It's been rested. Yeah, it's been rested, isn't it?
Rested. Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, those 3 releases all sold out pretty quickly.
They did. None of them were discounted as well. So the only bit I would say, Christian, is the last Phantom was discounted in the Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has an effect or whether it means that it sort of reached its zenith as such, and now it's a little bit downward because there's only so much room you can have for 148 Champions. But they're all exceptional, and of course the price was it 180 quid. There was 160 quid now. Sorry, for 148 Phantom.
No, it's 185.
Jesus.
So
that's a factor.
That's why it's there's too much.
There's been 3 F4 toolings, hasn't there?
There's been
three.
Yeah,
three. Yeah, so it's probably due for a rest because it was announced and as you said, the last one didn't.
Free is profit, you know that, don't you? So that's what they aim for when they release a new tooling. They aim for free sellout models in that brand, and that will make it into considerable profit. So they've hit all three of those. I think the only one that the only downside to all this is the Tornado. So the Tornado has stunk the place out. But I believe it's sold out on it's disappeared off the Corgi website. So did it sell out, or have they withdrawn it because it was shit? I doubt they would withdraw it.
It's probably sold out because people are just happy to get a Tornado on 148.
Yeah,
it reminds me of the Australian Canberra. The colours were wrong, but no one else is making it. No. So if you want an Australian Canberra, buy an Australian Canberra.
You notice as well, the Australian Canberra green is just rocked up on the new Harrier release.
I'm sorry.
That one colours are so poor. It's a beautiful model. Again, talking of great models.
It's a great model, but the colours are. Sorry, I looked at the colours. So I'm no Harrier expert, but I'm not. I'm sorry, that's not.
But this is what happens when you produce a model one side of the world with people who are translating from a second language. And nobody looks at it other than a model that comes through, which is then too late to change because it's it's the production sample. And this is where they've got to get tighter, and we know that, don't they?
It's the same with Hobby Master because they have the Seek and Destroy Typhoons come out. It's the wrong color grey, and then
it's too dark.
The George Berlin Spitfire, which is due to come out, it's the wrong color as well. So.
That's wrong colour blue, isn't it?
Yeah,
that one.
So they will be able to change that one. But
and also the ME109 the Brand Bonvera one is wrong, isn't it?
A lot of talk on the George Bueling Spit, but for years and years and years, like as long as I've been in the hobby, all I've heard about is it's really difficult to nail Malta, Spit, and Hurricane colours. And apparently there's a big controversy over the colour, and I think part of it is because there should be that underlying camo scheme underneath the blue. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, the Malta, for decades all I've heard is it's almost impossible to accurately describe or replicate the Malta aircraft because there's no colour photos or anything like that, but all of a sudden this one's wrong. So
there was no consistent camo as well in Malta. So you've got to remember when they come off of the carriers, they come off on like a really dark sea blue, which is washable. And then they went into desert, and then they used almost like an azure blue, I guess, wasn't it? A mix between a PR blue and an azure. I mean, how can you tell without wartime photos? So I think nobody can define it.
I think they released a Malta Hurricane, which was the right colour.
Yeah,
but
I just opened it yesterday. It's
again, that's a very strange blue. It's like a Randall blue, but darker. Yeah. Almost like a night fight in dark blue, isn't it? If you know what I mean. It's lovely.
Yeah, it's like a deep sea blue. Yeah, not quite night fighter blue. It's an unusual colour.
Yeah, it's really unusual, isn't it? It's almost like a black mix with a blue, isn't it? If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's darker, a lot darker.
It's a shame Dwayne ain't on because he's big on George Berlin.
Yeah,
he's probably got books on bloody thing.
Just on the Tornado issue, I was under the impression, based on some of the public statements made by Corgi, which identified they did have a problem. I took from that they're going to change the tooling. So I'm pretty hopeful because I mean the whole episode was quite crass. It was crass on the forums because it took me 5 pages to convince everybody that it was rubbish.
I remember reading that.
And it was just ridiculous because there was a photo of the two things, and people were saying, the photo's wrong. And I go, what? But I think they will change it. I really do.
Yeah.
And the other one, so I think I think the boat that's got to get a rest now. The desert one.
Yeah, that's number 3.
I think Dan alluded to Corgi's inability to be flexible, and I think the Beaufort is another perfect example of that. I think it was 43 Squadron or 36 Squadron or 39 Squadron. Operational Beaufort in the desert scheme that they should have chosen instead of the OTU one. But they've gone with the desert one, so that's 3, like we've talked about. So that'll probably get a rest. So
it's a weird one, isn't it? An operational training unit. Do you know what I mean?
The work's done for them. That's what's so frustrating. The work's done for them, and they just aren't. They don't have the flexibility to change.
I'm sure it's going to be stunning. I'm absolutely certain it's going to look lovely. But it's just, if you want a story behind an aircraft, it's not one that's got a great. You know what I mean? It's not one that makes the saliva sort of go like that, and the wow factor, I think is the word.
Yeah, well, that's what they started off on. They started off in the Battle of Britain and then the Flying Aces range. All those planes had a famous pilot and history, so they should go back to that. No more operational training units. Just pick a plane that's got history. The pilot's got history, and then people will go and buy it.
It's a bloody brilliant. It's a bloody brilliant model. I'm sure we're all great.
Yeah,
the first 2 releases are absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's
arguably model of the year last year, wasn't it? The Beaufort, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. I expect a Wellington actually to come out next year. We haven't had one for a while, have we?
No, true.
And now that the Beaufort's going to be put to bed for a while, I reckon we're due for a Wellington. I think you're right. I think a famous pilot or a famous mission, maybe even a maritime command.
I was just thinking that something
like that.
Along those lines.
Yeah. Well, we haven't really had a maritime command for release in a while, have we? When was the last one?
No.
God, no. What? If you're talking white, it's probably B-24. Was that the last one out? No, was the Welly the last one out?
The Blenheim, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, yeah, the Blenheim, yeah. The
Blenheim.
Light, yeah.
So
that's some years ago. That would be pre-2010.
Yeah, so we haven't had nothing like that for a long time, have we?
No. I'll be happy. I mean, the other one, I forget what mark it is. Is it a 7, the one with the light and the all glazed nose? Was it a Mark 7?
Wellington?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd have to have a look.
But that was interesting. It had obviously the light that obviously dropped out. I mean, that was obviously it's a bit gizmo, isn't it? If you know what I mean. But I really like that. I mean, I've just sold a Les Knight Dan Busser. I'll talk a little bit about more in a minute. But I had obviously the light on as well, which was still working. And I had something a little bit different. I know it's not the sort of thing you'd fly around a dark room at night. No. Do you know what I mean? But it just adds something a little bit different to you.
It's historically accurate, so it's a nice wee feature.
I tell you something talking about, because obviously I'm always one to talk about museum pieces. If you can say the likes of Just Jane, that was a popular release. VRA with the CWHM. I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember if this year a catalogue had a Vulcan.
No.
No, it didn't. No, not this year. The last one, they screwed up the paint underneath, didn't they?
No. The last one was the one was with the anti-radiation missiles.
Yeah, with the
that was diverted to Rio.
That's it.
One that I think would be popular. I'm just hypothetically speaking here. Especially with hearing the news that they are looking at extending the museum, is I can't remember the bloody tail code. The Woodford one, in anti-flash white. You look at XL321, which was 617 Squadron. That sold very, very well. The first anti-flash white one.
Yeah.
The one at Woodford, with them possibly looking at like they may need some help towards funding towards their extension of their museum. A good little collab there would be, we've got a Vulcan mould here that we need a release doing of it. Maybe that's just my business head looking at it. We will quite happily work with you to produce an anti-flash white Vulcan. It sold well last time. You've got the Vulcan. I don't know, just me thinking. You know what I'm like.
Yeah, we've got the Vulcan Trust at Southend as well, though. Yeah, it's XL something.
426, yeah.
amazing, in great nick as well. You know, that for me, you know, we're talking about
It's better
those
than
easy
558.
sellers. It's there. People can live, smell, touch, breathe it in. You know, and
what
it's well
price would
looked
a
after.
Vulcan be now?
Yeah.
What price would a Vulcan be now though?
240.
One set.
Yeah,
That's a lot for a half plastic jet.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Did the Vulcan ever carry the Thunderbolt missile?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm probably not the person to ask on that one.
I'm not entirely sure, mate.
Because I know the RAF was part of the program before it got cancelled, so I'm wondering if because that'll look cool. That'll look cool. A Vulcan bomber. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe it never carried it, but I wonder if it did carry it. But I mean, the last anti-flash white one had the blue steel, and that's what I'm thinking of. You know, so that certainly encouraged me to buy it. With the blue steel, and it looks fantastic. It's amazing.
It was 617, wasn't it, that one?
Yeah, 617.
Yeah, no, we haven't had a release in a while. The last one was the Falklands Harm mission. How old's that? 2 years?
Yes.
2 years.
2 years ago,
the 40th anniversary.
I always wonder when the Victor's coming out. That's the
good for that.
Victor in 172. I'm fucked. I'll have no more room left. It's my favourite aircraft.
But the thing is,
I love that.
So you talk about. I know there was lots of noise around it. It's always used to come top 3 in the polls.
Yeah.
It wasn't in that survey that was sent out, and you know, so many schemes you can do. Obviously, I don't know what the difference is around making it a tanker or making it a bomber, and you've got hemp, you've got white, you've got that lovely green and grey. There's so much you can do with it, and it would be it would look masterful when it's sitting on your shelf.
Well, if you're talking about 3 toolings for that, what 3 schemes would you have?
Right, so for me, you've got to have a Gulf War one. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. You'd have to have a Falklands one, Ascension Islands, or one of the 200 or whatever it is it took to get the Vulcan across the sea. The one that refueled the Victor, that refueled the Victor, that refueled the other Victor, refueled
one of them.
But for me, the Duxford one, because it's really important to me and my family, because it's one that my dad worked on. But an all white anti-flash. There's so many. There's so.
We would all buy one in 172. It's a no-brainer.
Well, there's 4 different colour schemes you can do straight off the bat, isn't there?
Yeah.
That off the top of my head, I mean, but this, it's a very historic aircraft. You've got Lusty Lindy, you've got the one at Bruntingthorpe. I know they're very similar in terms of colour. The last flying Victor, I had the one at Bruntingthorpe. There's so much good stuff out there, isn't there? You could go all day with it. It's amazing. Did the Victor ever appear in all grey? I don't think I've ever seen a Victor in all grey, like an all.
No,
I've never seen one.
But it's also a rare aircraft in modern day RAF with nose art, with some body nose art, I might add.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and that a bit of nose art and Mon types, I think it'd do. I've always wanted it over the Vulcan, but I understood the reasons why they went with the Vulcan. But the operational service of the Victor, has no peer with heavy bombers since World War II with the RAF. So anyway, I think we're a bit hopeful. I don't think it's going to happen. So
it's the anticipation of a new catalogue. It always gets you,
and the hope that kills you. Isn't it?
Well, no matter how many times I would love this, and then it's like, right, well, it's not in January, we'll try for May. And then May comes along and you think it's got to be Christmas, it's got to be the September to December one. And it's like,
what you can do is we will know what the new moulds are in January. Well, and everyone gets excited come the April one. It's going to be new. No, there isn't. And then they go, there's going to be some in August. There isn't. Everything will be announced in January. So if somebody has just asked a question, bear with me. So Hazy Radials has asked, when are we getting a Hudson? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. That'll be part of the next part of the discussion once we've been through our ideas.
We're still waiting for the 410, which was announced last
Which
January.
Does look rather sexy, though. I have to say. I know it's only like a plasticine version or whatever the hell it is at the moment, but it does look good.
But are you surprised that they're going with a tank buster version? with a
Not
candle
really.
in
I
their
think that's
nose.
more. It's more
Yeah.
famed for that, isn't it? Certainly on the Eastern Front.
I would have thought they would have went for the Cosford one first.
I'm sure.
It feels probably a bit safe.
Yeah,
If I was to be honest, I think they'll go for something that's a bit funky, and also the War in the East thing is still relatively fresh in our minds, isn't it? With the 6 releases or so, whatever it is they did there. So I think it will slot in nicely. I mean, interesting to see what the price point is. I would imagine it's very similar to the Beaufort. Beaufort.
yeah, about $84.99.
Yeah, I reckon so.
For the twins.
Yeah.
But
So
we're gonna get
Christian,
one anyway.
any more predictions before we move on to Jamie?
I think we'll probably see a resurrection of another fighter. We've had the Zero, the T-Bolt. I think there'll be another one of those. Maybe the Corsair or something like that.
I'm thinking F86. You know, I just have a funny feeling about the Sabre.
Well, there's still some great F86 schemes not done.
Baldwin one, for example, was an example. So they just released the Typhoon. Yeah. Baldwin went to fly in the US, didn't he, as Lend-Lease pilot, what the hell they call them, and that would be a good scheme to tie in with the recently released Typhoon. But it's a great model to say. Let's not get away from that.
Good little model, and I mean, the RAF had dozens of squadrons with it. I know that the Sharkmouth from he's already been done from help me. What am I talking about? Sharkmouth. What squadron am I talking about? Sharkmouth, famous Tomahawks.
112.
112.
Yeah, 112.
Yeah, 112.
Yeah. So I mean, there's heaps and heaps of schemes that they can choose from. So yeah, I think I'd like to see the all white Lancaster for the Tiger Lang, but I think that's just another forlorn hope on my part.
Yeah.
But it's hard to pick this year. I think a new tooling. I think the Hudson's. I think based on the poll and the hints that Mark's given us, I think the Hudson's coming. Can we see another 1 to 48 jets? The Buccaneer.
Buccaneer for me, it has to be. It's loads of them running, loads of them taxiable in this country. Yeah. There's loads of really nice schemes to do. It's just a lump, and it will look the detail. If you had an opening nose section and air brakes and all that, I think the detail on it could be.
Yeah. So the Buccaneer is probably on its way as well. I can't think of an Australian one off the top of my head that Corgi will latch onto after the Beaufighter and the Canberra. So I don't know. I'd like to see the F-16 tooling. And sorry, one more. United States Marine Corps Harrier in 1 to 48. I reckon that's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's next. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jamie. Just before you go.
Yeah.
We've not seen, and it's not one I've ever owned, but not seen in a while, a 172 Sunderland.
No.
Ooh.
I haven't got one of those.
An all black one.
Black Peter or something.
Oh my God. That would be mentally good.
I'm just racking my brains of what they're going back 20 years, whatever it was, for the 144th scale ones.
Well,
what they released in that. And Black Peter was one of those.
Yeah.
And I know I had one at one point. I thought, that's pretty cool looking aeroplane, that is. It was a few years ago. And even in that scale, I was like, 172, that'd look pretty smart.
I've got room for one more.
I'll still get it.
I don't have one, so I'll probably pick one up if I do.
There you go, Jamie. Job done. Right. Go, Jamie, go. Thoughts?
Thoughts for next year. It makes sense to have 100th Bond Group B-17. Even if they did a split scheme, one silver, one olive drab, they would sell out.
And the energy. Give me an energy.
Personally, I would like to see the 190 Dora. And I know it was on the survey, so hopefully they have it already made and they're just testing the water, because the only other manufacturer that has done one is D'Agostini, and it was
Dragon did a very good one as well. And I believe Whitty did as well, did they, Christian?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty certain Whitty did.
Dora.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain Whitty did one Dora before they folded.
Okay, all
didn't
I
Yeah,
know,
know
Drew,
that.
certainly
and
did. I'm feeling it's a red and black
well,
ME262 Squadron Protector.
Yeah, yes,
Um,
yeah.
okay, there you go.
I
But they could.
keep hearing a bleep. Is someone trying to bleep out your swearing, Christian, in the background?
I don't know how to shut it off. It's me.
Someone's got a bleeper. He's going to swear.
I'm in trouble with my local community because
Why does that
because
not surprise us?
Yeah.
I'm
No
bashing at the
paedophile jokes, gentlemen, please.
He
my
has the, he has the wrong
dog show.
opinions.
So I'm here by myself, and I ordered some food last night because I couldn't be asked making it, and it was 2 hours late. It was wrong food, so I had ran on Facebook, and yeah, it went down like a little.
What did you
That
order out of
wouldn't be like
curiosity?
you at all,
What do Australians order on takeaway down there?
No,
Shrimp.
we got everything. Hey, look how fat I am. Surely, I mean, I've got it all. I won't say who I got it from this time because I'll never get it again.
You don't want to be sued.
We learn. Yeah.
So carry on, Jamie.
Yeah.
I'm getting abuse on Facebook, so that's what all those dings are.
Just be one continuous stream of ding, 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 ding.
It's vindictive.
Yeah.
You can't teach an old tricks, apparently.
Oh my God.
Shut the fuck up.
I wouldn't mind one of the A8 with the underwing cannons or rockets, if they can do that. Or an F model 109. I'm not really interested in the Condor, although it was in the thing.
Mark's gonna fuck
Yeah, and I couldn't care less about any Italian planes. So
I need to take a walk into the garden.
yeah,
I'm going to
so,
rant
and walk
about
into a
that in minute.
shovel.
I'm going to get abuse on
I know.
Facebook in a minute, Christian. You watch.
I think Corgi will play it safe. There may be one or two new tones. There'll be new schemes. They'll probably do the 2 World War One planes again, couple from World War Two. They don't really seem to be doing any 172 jets anymore.
No,
Yeah.
I think they've sort of handed that to
Yeah.
Hobbymaster. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
they might do another Harrier.
Marine Corps.
I haven't picked up any of the first 2, so I don't know. And then from the email that came out, if they're going to do a 148 Tomcat, if they do Top Gun, if they get the
A 140. Admittedly, I've not seen the email. A 148 Tomcat.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll go through that in a minute, Daniel. Don't worry.
If
Fire.
they got the license for Top Gun, I think they could make whatever they wanted after that, because that would sell out.
And they can get the licensing as well. They've got all the licensing to do it properly.
If they can do a 148 scale Tomcat similar to the Caliber Wings Tomcat, then they're just printing money.
As much as me and Noel had many differences, Corgi are very good. I don't think that they can hit that quality.
Wow.
I don't know.
Well, it looks like Caliber Wings are finished.
But
so
the JC Wings have taken over that Tomcat mold, haven't they? It's pretty obvious by the photos that have been released by
basically
JC.
sold, he's leasing it to them.
Is he?
Yeah,
basically.
He's
still his.
He's not doing the tracker anymore.
Well,
I can see the B-58
the
slowly diminishing.
He's left
God knows where that
door
is.
open for Cracker.
So,
God, he's a deal.
beep, 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 beep.
your computer will go off again in a second. So it's disappointing, but
148 Tomcat. Can we just? Sorry, we're going to go ahead here. They fucked up the wings on a Tornado. Surely, just take a step back and maybe I tell you what. Let's correct the Tornado first.
They ain't coming anytime soon. I can't see.
The only reason I considered it was in the email they had the F-16 and the F-14, and they don't do 172 anymore.
Don't get me wrong. If they can do it and nail it, there's a great market there.
I think they'll fix the Tornado first. I
Yeah.
think they'll fix the Tornado first and see if they can get all the mechanics in terms of how the wings swing and everything properly in scale. I can't see it coming out.
No.
I would put 5 years on it, to be honest with you.
100%.
You see how long the ME410's taken over a year to develop after announcing. So I think we won't see that till 2030 if we're lucky.
If at all. I mean, yeah, like I said,
they were putting the feelers out for it.
Yeah.
Because as far as jets in 172, they don't do them anymore. So the only possible reason for the 16 and the 14 being on that list is 148. And if they do a 148 Tomcat, I will buy as many of them as they can produce. Simple as that.
I personally think they should go the F-16 route. And if they did that, did it well, the biggest problem with the F-16 is that they won't keep up, in my view, they won't keep up with the demand. Yeah. I think the F-16 is just going to fly, and releasing one a year just won't cut it. I reckon the F-16, a good F-16 tooling, and if Corgi are flexible enough to have a couple of different marks, a different intake, different nozzle, and weapon options, I reckon they'll make a mozza off that tool.
Well, if they've done it with the hire from GR5 to GR9, then they can do it with a 16. The only thing about the 16, there's so many operators and so many schemes. It'll be...
But they're different with every block.
A nightmare to pick which ones you're going to start off with.
Well, how about, I mean, if I was Corgi, I'd just stick with Gulf War. Just operate.
Gulf War, Thunderbirds. Look, there's so many. Obviously, Ukraine now, we've got you've got the Dutch schemes, which are stunning. You've got, there's so much Solo Turk. Where'd you stop? There's stuff there that hits RIAT every year, which people would drop their pants for. Do you know what I mean?
Incredible Alaskan schemes, the black and white and that extraordinary green, multicolored green, brown, black. I mean, that tooling would just fucking kill.
Look how well Hobby Master do with the 172 one.
Yeah. They must be up to 100 different schemes on them now. Like you've got all the
easy
squadrons.
It's the new Phantom, isn't it? The F-16 is the new Phantom.
Yeah, that's why they might do a 1 to 48 one, which is why Corgi should be all over it.
Yeah, but I hope some of the stuff that was on the email, I hope it's already in production.
Yeah, I'll go through it all in a minute once I've done my predictions, and I've had a 20-minute rant about the Condor.
Okay, go on then.
Yeah,
here we go.
Don't mention it. Don't mention it.
The two notable absences for me on the email that come out were the ME109F and the Spitfire 5.
Ooh,
I don't think the Spitfire 5 will come up next, but I think it's definitely in the works. I think we're going to see an ME109F, and I think it will be a Russian scheme to start things off. I don't think they'll go down the desert scheme because we just had the Marseille G. I think they'll go Russian and probably tie it in and complete the set in the winter and the East Road, because we've had the Emil, we've had the Gustav, the Friedrich is just there ready to be had.
If they want to do a Barkhorn F, because they only did a 132 scale G model for Barkhorn. They've never done any of his in 172.
There's Hartmann. There's so many great Eastern.
If they want to do Barkhorn, like he's the second highest scored ace, and there's nothing out there really with his name on it.
The other thing as well, just sort of think of that, there is an F that's about to break cover at Sywell Aerodrome at some point over the next weeks or months. Very, very soon. Yeah, only flyable F. I don't know what scheme it's going in. Obviously, only a select few would. Oh, do you know? You need to drop me a message in a minute.
Just
I
tell
wonder. I mean, my thoughts would be it's going to go into a Marseille scheme with the red towel.
Yeah,
but I don't think they'd go. If it's something Eastern Front, I think they'll use that, because I think it's a great way of tying it in. And if they're clever and they're going to get ahead for next year when it's breaking cover through airshow season, what a brilliant tie-in. But I think people would snap your hand off to get an F. I think the F is the only notable absentee from the Messerschmitt tooling. Of course, with the 410 coming out, it's easy money. It's really easy money.
Agreed.
I mean, I'd love a Spitfire 5 because I was looking at one the other day up on my dad's shelf, and it's just nothing like a Spitfire 5. Fat wings, the propellers,
like a Hurricane.
shit. Yeah, it is. It is like a Hurricane. It is like literally like a Hurricane. So I think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be a 148 coming out because I think they need to make up for the Tornado. So part of me says it's going to be a Buccaneer, but the other part of me says that something's been missing from the aviation archive for a long time is the Hunter. But the Hunter's got connotations of obviously what happened at Shoreham, so I'm not entirely sure it's going to be a Hunter, but I think a Buccaneer would be, again, you talk about printing money. I mean, somebody's just said about printing money for the 148 Tomcat. I think that would be a great choice. In terms of other schemes that I've thought about, I think if there is going to be a Phantom scheme, I think it would be Black Mike, nice and easy. I think you can really go wrong with that in terms of getting that into production. And I think a Mark 9. I think MH434 has got to be done. Most iconic Spitfire in the world, and it's still not been put into model form in a decent company. Obviously, the Whitty one was it was all right, but it was a bit shit in reality. I think we've got room for another Mark 1.
Diplomatically there, Matt. Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
Mark 1 because it's obviously Battle of Britain anniversary next year. 85 years. I think the one at Biggin would be a really good one to tie in with. It looks the business, which means you're probably going to get a Hurricane and you're probably going to get an Emil as well. It'd be nice if they do all three. So you've got a Battle of Britain set again. I also have a pretty good feeling that the next TR9 will come out and it'll be MJ627 from the Biggin Hill Heritage Hangar. Because it's the same sort of style canopy layout as obviously the Grey Nurse TE318, which was Grey Nurse. I think that would be due out. I think we're due a Mustang. I think the Rolls Royce Heritage Collection Mustang might be done. Pretty simple scheme to do, and they've done the Spitfire, so we'll tie it nicely. I also wonder whether it would be something from the BBMF as a mini fundraiser for Mark Long. So maybe the new 19 with the yellow nose or the black Hurricane. I think that would be great. Or even the new Southeast Asian Command Dakota, which is ready to roll out in about February this year, or next year, sorry. That would be lovely and very different to what we've got. I think that's pretty much it. But there's bits we haven't seen for a while, like the P40 has not been around for a while. Obviously, we've had the Swordfish now, and the Lysander, so I can't see them coming out. We've also got another Marauder. I would imagine a Midway Marauder. I mean, that's arguably model of the year, isn't it?
We've got the
Marauder. Good point. Great model. I know there was a lot of noise about the nose and the undercarriage, but it's a fantastic model. The execution of the scheme was fantastic. So I think that will come. We haven't had a Mosquito in about 2 years now, so maybe a Mosquito potentially with all these new ones hitting the skies, but may hold off for the Biggin Hill one to arrive here. I think that's pretty much it. There's obviously quite a lot going on now, but I'm excited. I think because they're now in their production now, I think we might see 8 releases rather than. I think we started before last year, didn't we? It was a bit drab. 4 in the first quarter. I get why they don't want to go heavy first quarter because post-Christmas no one's got money. But I'd hope they'll be a little bit braver and increase it by 6 next year in terms of like 24 models a year or whatever. I just think they just need to be a little bit more sensible. You've hit the B17s as 3 succinct ones that we could go for, the REF, the 100 group or Sally B. They all jump out to me. I can't see a B25 being done because I don't think the last one has really whet the appetite of people. I'd like another ME110 from the desert, like a proper desert scheme one rather than just a bland desert, like mottling on and whatnot. But I think that's probably about it. So going through that survey, and correct me if I'm wrong here, on that survey was a P51B, which I think is a real surefire hit. We had the Firefly, we had the Condor, we had the Hudson,
the Hamden,
we had the Hamden,
the
we had the F-16, which will be 148. We had the F-35, that would be 148.
that wasn't on it.
We had the F-14, which would
be the Dora.
The Dora.
Yeah.
Was there another one? There was one more, wasn't there?
I was thinking it was 8 in total.
Oh, I think that's 9. I've just reeled off there.
I don't think the F-35 was on it.
Yeah, F-35 was on it. 100%.
Well,
F-35 was on it.
I must have skipped it because I didn't vote for it.
Yeah, it's not an interesting one for me. I mean, look, I think realistically, I think the P-51B, I mean, I'd be interested to see. Did you boys get it as well?
Yeah.
Christian and Dan?
No, I didn't.
Maybe.
No, I
didn't see it.
I never get them. I'm blacklisted, clearly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's those damn.
They're doing something right.
No, I'm blacklisted.
I voted for a P-51B. I went for a P-51B because I think, you've got RAF, USAF. I think it's an easy win. I went for Firefly because it's so different.
Tell the truth, you voted for the Condor 3 times.
And the Condor 3 times, yeah. And also went for a Hudson, which I didn't mention now.
Yeah.
So the Hudson, I think, is got ground. The Condor, I know there's a lot of noise on the forums around this, right?
Yeah. Well,
and you'll be voting for an aircraft that's going to be close to £300. And also that for me, I mean, you've got the civilian scheme, which is meh for me. I just don't really see what else you can really do with it.
What size is the Condor in comparison with a B-24?
It's bigger than a B-24.
Bigger?
It's between a B-24 and a B-29.
Well, in that case, just do the B-29.
I have a built plastic one, and it's the biggest model I've got in 172.
Yeah.
So for me, if you're going to do a big model, do a B-29.
Yeah.
But the B-29 was conspicuous by its absence on the survey as well, which for me suggests that we've spoke about it obviously with Michael twice when he's been on the call. It's certainly on the agenda and wanting to be built, but they need to find a way of how to build it and make it doable in that scale, and how it will be presented, because it's bigger than a Vulcan, and the Vulcan box is like the size of your house. It's a loft breaker. But for me, it's the major aircraft in 172 scale that's never been made.
Yeah.
For me, that is the major, because everyone else has done a B. Obviously, we haven't done a Hudson, but is it as important as a B-29? No. Is a Hamden as important as a B-29? No. Is a Firefly? No. Oh, Sea Fury as well. Sea Fury was one of the options on there. Forgot that one as well, which I think, to be fair, we have done a good job at that. So JC Wings are still running with the tooling on that. Would Corgi do a better job? Absolutely. Is it necessity? Probably not. But if they did it, I'd need folding wings for me to make it a little bit different. So it's just, I mean, a P-51B, the Corgi version shite. The Gemini one is exceptionally good. They've proved that with the D model, they can smash it out of the park. For me, it's equal. It's equal to the Dragon. Is it better? It's literally. It's more solid. It stays in its undercarriage and things don't fall off. Yeah. I know that much. But is it better? I don't know. But it's for me. It's, if you put them alongside each other, I think for me it doesn't. It certainly doesn't. Stick out that it isn't. So no, they've done a great job on the B. If they do a great job, D. If they do a great job on the B, I think go for it. Lots of historic aircraft can be made.
They always need a single engine fighter for that £60 price point, so it makes
and this
sense.
Is the point. It's less risk, and as they've proven with the Tornado, if you've got £180 steaming pile of turd, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
If you've got a steaming pile of turd that's in reality costing them £20 to make, it's not so much a financial hit. And if I'm signing off, after if I'm the guy who's running Hornby and Corgi comes to me and say, right, we've got this model here. How much is it going to retail for? Well, 240. Is it right? Well, hopefully, hopefully the guys over in China will sort it out. I'd be like, then no. We go with the smaller option. I think there's less risk in a fighter. And I also think it's more sellable, especially, in this day and age when you're asking 60 quid, if not 65 for you know, a small fighter. But yeah, so look, I mean, there's lots of options there. Let me have a quick look. Who just quoted it? So Hazy Radio just said, you know, like, you make a 148 Tomcat, you would be printing money. I think you would be, as long as the price point's not north of 200 quid. I think it's north of 200 quid. That's now the new.
Would be.
That's that.
Yeah.
That's the thing though now, isn't it? I mean, isn't it crazy how we go, well, if it's north of 200 quid, people wouldn't buy it. £200 for a model aircraft that sits on your shelf.
Yeah.
How crazy is it that we're talking about that as if it's normal? You know, that's a hell of a lot of money. A hell of a lot of money to me, a hell of a lot of money to anyone who's got millions in the bank. You know, 200 quid is a disgusting figure, really, in reality, yet we still keep coming back for more. What does that say about all of us?
Yeah, we're the same as everybody else who just has a different hobby, because they all cost money. So you know,
look, I mean,
it's justified.
Anybody's watching, please put in the comments around all the ones I've just mentioned. So let's just go through them together again. So Hudson, Hamden, Condor, Sea Fury, Firefly, P-51B, F-35, F-16, F-18. What ones have I missed?
190D.
190D. Keep missing the 190D for some reason.
That's
Is there any more? That's 10, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it was 10 that was on there. Somebody's just asked another question. Oh, no, they haven't. It's the same question. So, lads, what would your three... So, we go back to Dan again. What would your three be from that list I've just reeled out?
I'm a jet guy. If I'm being brutally honest with you.
Keep the beats coming, Christian.
Sorry.
Yeah, would you go all three jets then?
Probably, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like we discussed earlier, I cannot see a 148 Tomcat happening in the next 5 years.
Yes,
but you've got the aggro of going to scan whatever. They haven't got that mold, so that's a brand new mold. So they've got the aggro of actually going to scan an F-14. There's plenty out in America.
Yes, nothing. There's none preserved in the UK, if I'm correct.
No.
There's none preserved outside of America, apart from their friends in Iran. So I mean, you've got that problem. You've got the different marks of Tomcat, but yeah. So for me, it would be F-16, F-14, and F-35.
Nobody wants the Battle Penguin. Nobody wants it.
Christian, what three are you going for?
So the Frederick wasn't on the list, was it?
Sorry?
The Frederick wasn't on the list, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was conspicuous by its absence. And that's why I think he's coming.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Definitely the F-16, the Hudson, and I'll probably have to go with the P-51B.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying that because I want the Hudson and the F-16, but I think that those are the three toolings that will sell the best for Corgi.
Also, again, conspicuous by its absence was the 148 Buccaneer. Which, for me, that's why I'm going with Buccaneer and Friedrich for the two that are coming out this year. Because we only had one new tool, didn't we, this year, which was the Hornets.
It's not even
Yeah, exactly. So
well, I had the Marauder at the start of the year.
Yeah, but that was the previous year, wasn't it? That was the previous year it was released with the Tornado, which then arrived last year.
Okay.
So you've got like 12 months. So whatever's announced in January, realistically, it's probably not going to arrive in 2025. It will probably arrive in 2026. Yeah. That's how they trend now, I guess.
And that would be perfect for the Top Gun Tomcat then, because it'll be the 40th anniversary in 2026.
That would require Corgi for thinking ahead.
Yeah.
But they'll do the typical thing and miss it by 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll announce it for the 40th anniversary and then... yeah.
Jamie, what's your top three?
Well, I voted for the 190 Dora, the Hamden, and the Hudson.
Nice. I'd like to see a Hudson, so like
Yeah,
to see
I
a
would
Hudson.
I'd like to see a Hamden and a Whitley, but I don't know. Well, next year being the 85th anniversary, it would make sense
Yeah.
to have them out. And then it's the 80th anniversary of the end of the war, so it would make sense to have the B29.
Yeah.
But as we know, Corgi don't stick to deadlines and miss them. Yeah, I'm grand. Sorry, just getting someone's just shouting at me there. But yeah, I want the Dora. It's the only German plane really that hasn't been made in good detail, so I would want those. Hudson and Hamden, yeah, and if they want to do the Tomcat and F-16 and 148 scale, then I'll just bite their hand off to get them.
Just another bit, sort of another thought to add, and I know Corgi want to get back into the US market again, and I know obviously Flying Mule seem to be up in their game in terms of stocking more Corgi now and distributing across America. They don't have an arm as such in America anymore.
Yeah.
America is, probably air shows per capita is probably the most expansive one in the world, I guess, in terms of the number of air shows that have been held, especially military air shows as well. I think the F-16 is a great way of leaping back in to that market. Like Christian said, I think it's got not just appeal in the United States of America, it's got appeal in mainland Europe, it's got an appeal in the Far East, which is traditionally the three big markets. No offence to our friends over in Australia, but it costs £1 billion to just transport the bloody things there, whether it by air or by boat. So them three markets, for me, it's three big ticks. Hobbymaster, like Dan has said, Hobbymaster have proved that you produce them, people will keep buying them. And it's not the biggest aircraft in 148, is it? In comparison to what they produce now, I guess it's probably the same sort of size as the Typhoon, right?
I thought it would have been smaller.
Is it be smaller?
Yeah.
There you go. And so actually, if you're going to shift that 160 quid and your metal content isn't as sufficient as, say, something like a Tornado, that for me says profitability.
Yeah.
And of course, not all of it's going to be complete metal as well. So you've got to add that into the factor. Is it easy to mold? Is it really massively complex in comparison? Probably not. I don't know, because obviously I don't make molds for die casts, but I can't see there being a significant issue. I mean, Noel has managed to knock them out on his own, out of his own factory for a period before he pissed off the factory, and did it relatively well. And no, but his F-16 is stunning. It's a brilliant bit of kit. It's just a shame that he just can't find a factory that lives up to his expectations. I don't think he ever will, because I think his level's here, and nobody else can get to that level. And that's why he gets frustrated, because he wants to be here all the time. And, if Corgi can find someone who can do that for him, then that's easy money, in it. It's like, I think, like Hazy Radio has said before, he's literally printing money. So that could be a good shout. Be interesting to see if they have shit asked us a little bit by putting one or two things on that survey that are already in production.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, that there's something on that list.
Bit of reverse psychology.
They've already made.
But also, just to turn it around the other way, to see that come through to my inbox is absolutely brilliant. It says that people are listening and they're doing things out of the box again, like coming on Wings Monthly and talking about, taking questions and, dare I say, challenging questions, whether it be from the forum, from Facebook, or for people watching it. The fact that they're doing stuff like that and they're building that relationship with the community who funds them.
Communicating.
And that's exactly it. With the greatest respect to William, William does listen and he replies to emails, but he is he's an invisible character who nobody knows who he is, where he is. He's just someone who responds to emails. Corgi are doing a bit more out the box now, and yes, dare I say it, we've forced them a little bit. I'm a little bit disappointed they're not doing a Q&A this year for Christmas, but I guess we covered that.
Did they not say something about they don't have enough staff for this sort of social media side of things?
They cut They've made some significant cuts. Now Fraser Group have taken them. I don't know who or what.
I follow Airfix and Hornby and Scalextrics on social media, and they're always posting. And Corgi don't seem to post anything.
The lesser part.
Yeah.
And look, I've offered. I'm sure we collectively could offer to Corgi to do it for them. No, I've mentioned this to Michael before. You want me to do stuff? Just pay me in models. I don't want money.
Yeah.
Just give me a couple of models, and I'll be happy.
Even a few years.
I would happily do stuff for them if they wanted to, and I'm sure there's plenty of people who are more capable than me in the community who could front it for them. But I would happily be the face of Corgi.
Yeah.
God, what a
maybe not.
Jesus,
I'd have to wear a mask with like a plastic bag over my face.
I'd be out of business.
I was
going
to say
wear a balaclava, Jamie, but I don't want to bring back memories from Northern Ireland and all that. Probably a little bit near the knuckle, that one.
You can wear as many as you want. Honestly,
just imagine Jamie turning that with a balaclava, going, "Go to him now, ladies and gentlemen." Sorry, that's not an Irish accent. It's all based on Jerry Adams, by the way. Sorry, mate.
Of course.
But we're going to move on to stuff before I get a bomb threat phone through.
I'll move swiftly on for you.
I've got paramilitary at my front door. We're just a quick before we round up. I just want to go through some of your highlights from 2024. Before we get to that, though, young Samuel Marincelli, who's just joined, he's obviously said, "I've got Hornby on LinkedIn." He says, "Anything Corgi is very few and far between," and that sums it up. Also, just to add this, so there's a thing called Fraser Plus. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's obviously Sports Director owned by Fraser Group. On Fraser Plus now, there are links to Hornby, Scalextrics, Corgi, all through that. So you can get discounts through Fraser Plus. Just thought I'd throw that out there. That's good to see that they're opening different avenues in order to get people onto those websites. But it's I think what Sam said, it definitely feels like Corgi is that brother they're not slightly ashamed of, the brother they don't really want anyone to see, the one who's a bit creepy, who sits in his room all day. Well, Scalextrics and Airfix and Hornby gets all the glamour.
Yeah.
Bit like the Ugly Sisters, isn't it, really?
It's Cinderella. They just don't have a social media team.
Yeah.
Because even a few years ago, they were doing the advent calendar where there was competitions and sneak peeks of what's coming up, and there's nothing now.
And that's and for me, that's really, really poor. But they've obviously looked at that and looked at the numbers that come through and the reaction from it, and said, "Well, it don't really give us anything." I know Michael works his bollocks off, and I'm quite happy to tell the world that he is constantly at work. The man does not rest. To find time to come on and do stuff like this, really appreciate it. But he is constantly. I caught up with him at Duxford in September, and he was running around like a headless chicken. Trying to do obviously his Airfix, because obviously he fronts up Airfix as well. But look, I think it's frustrating for me because Airfix have their own, and Hornby, they use people, and I won't say who. It frustrates the life out of me. They use people within them to do shows on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Why does Corgi not do that? And Corgi is profitable. Corgi is massively profitable. It isn't just obviously about aircraft that we're talking about now. No. We're, their car and Vanguards and whatnot is a massive, massive business. And I find it incredibly frustrating that they're not doing anything with that.
Well, David's just revealed the Thunderbirds 2 and 5, is it? On the Jerry Anderson podcast. So there's nothing to stop them doing it on, say, this platform.
But I think they're all busy doing loads of different things. They're all like Phil Neville, aren't they? If the old Phil Neville analogy, the geezer played everywhere in the 11. They'd put him in goal if they could at one point, wouldn't they?
Phil Neville won things, didn't they?
Yeah. Masters of nothing, I think is the expression, isn't it? No, but it's true. But with the greatest respect, if they're being run ragged, you can't do everything.
But I would be happy if they just sent out the questionnaire email every few months just to get a feel for what people are wanting.
Absolutely.
Right, so some sort of interaction.
Right, and sorry sorry, I don't want to keep you too long. I want to cap this at an hour in true Mark Stringer fashion. It's an hour and a quarter in now. So we're going to wrap up in the next sort of 10 minutes or so. So let's go through our 2024 highlights. Daniel, with you.
Yes, darling.
Thank you, sweetheart. We love it.
2024 highlights. Expanding in regards to Corgi or just in general?
Just in general, what your 2024 model highlights? What are the ones that really jump out at you that have knocked your socks off?
Super Hornets.
Not necessarily knocked my socks off, but well, no, there have been models that knocked my socks off. I've received some that have been fantastic. But expanding my US Navy collection, that's been great fun doing that and hunting down a few bargains in regards to that. I've also been quite proud, I suppose, and Mark, you'll probably feel a bit of this as well, of expanding, is that the right word? Gaining more skills, shall we say, with the Code 3s, and doing a few more and being a bit more adventurous with them. Actually doing some for commission now, and building them for customers to a point where I did 2 that went out to Singapore somewhere, and got great feedback from them. Doing some for myself, so now I've got every model of each Eurofighter Typhoon that I've sat in. That one I didn't need to do, but I've sat in that one. So I've got every model of that now. So yeah, it's been a strange year in regards to the beginning of the year. My direction of collecting quite rapidly changed. From Warbirds, most of them went. Now it's majority jets. So yeah, it's been a strange one. Not a massive intake of the collection, but just a steady, nice year. Nothing too drastic.
Is there anything else you want to tell us? Because you texted me before we went on. Go on. This is your moment, Daniel. Would you like a drum roll or like a big band to come in?
Balls to your drum roll. So, as on Facebook, you've seen we've been advertising. We will support any diecast shop, retailer,
Absolutely.
Whatever you want to call them. We will support anybody from Lofties to Flying Tigers to Jumblies to Antics, whoever. We will support all of them. But being local to Sywell and Gary, he runs the page as well. Being local to Sywell, we do have a close affiliation with Richard at Flying Tiger, so we've been working closely with him. We don't know when it's going to happen. We're hoping into the start of next year. We've managed to convince Richard, so he has a lot of stock that gets, I don't know how much I can say here without him getting into trouble, but he has a lot of stock that gets returned to him, whether they're damaged or whether they're not wanted anymore. And when I say damaged, we're talking the blister might be cracked within the box. We're talking the tail on an F-16, the tail might be loose in the box, and they don't want to just reattach it back on. Blah blah blah. We've now got access to all of his return pile. He has said for the page, because we've done that amount of promotion for him this year, and I always said we'd get some sort of deal with him. We've got a number of models coming through to us that he is donating to DWC free of charge, that we are going to auction off for charity.
Fantastic.
So Mark, I've not mentioned this to you yet. It will be a charity that all 3 of us will pick separate ones. It will be whatever charity you want to do, but there will be some mint models in there. We're talking models that are normally hundreds of pounds that we want to try and get gone for less, but all of the fundraising will go towards charity. Christian, you are more than welcome. We'll ship them worldwide. It's no bother with me at all. We'll get them out to you. But yeah, so we think I'd like to think there's going to be nearly 40 models that we're going to auction off, and every single penny of it is going to go towards charity.
Very good.
From DWC. So yeah,
Excellent.
yeah,
That's absolutely
that's.
outstanding idea. You
But
know,
that's
I need to
that's
plan a trip up to you then in the new year at some point.
absolutely, yeah. So we've got, me and Gary have been working closely with Rich. There is a number of boxes already in his storage at Sywell that we will be going through. We'll be sifting through them, and he said, "Help yourself," as a thank you for promotion for him this year. So yeah,
It's absolutely outstanding. That's brilliant. At the end of the day, look, it's important that we try and give back where we can. So, mate, that's brilliant. Honestly, thanks for sorting that out.
look, no drama.
And also, look, the good thing is that it helps people on the page as well if they want to get a cheaper model as well. And you know, the fact that Richard's done that's absolutely incredible. But that's because of you guys. Obviously, you've got the relationship with him. I haven't as such because I'm too far south. I'm not lucky to have a model shop near me.
I've nothing
my
here.
model shop is eBay, basically, or Gary.
Or Gary when he comes down on his little trip.
Driving salesman who goes up and down the country haggling for die-cast for me, and then meets me shadily in Lakeside for a coffee. Bless him.
Lenny.
He is. Oh, but no, cheers, Dan. No, thanks for letting us know about that. I mean, something really, really good to be coming in the new year as well. So, and it's an opportunity for me to get up to you as well at some point.
More than
throughout all the madness and meet up with you and Gaz. So, cheers, mate. Anyhow, Christian, 2024 highlights. What are they for you, mate?
The Bristol Fighter, the Tremblers 111 Squadron, which I'm treating as an Australian release. So, and it's on the Australian shelf, which is the second Australian 148 World War One from Corgi. There's a plethora of Spits that have just been, that either have been released or about to be released by HM, which I really am enjoying. There's an American one that's coming out from 52 Squadron, I think, or 52 Fighter Group. I'm really enjoying HM Spits at the moment. I'm having a ball with those releases. I think they're fantastic. The other tooling that I'm a bit surprised about, that I really am very enthused for, is the HM French Rafale. I was really surprised how much I'm enjoying that tooling. It's beautifully made, and every time they release one, they seem to have different weapon options on it. And I think it's a cracking tooling, and it's a heavy little bit of die cast, and I'm really enjoying that one. But probably close to model of the year is probably the Corgi Harrier. That is a really, really good model, and I really, really like it. And so they're probably my highlights. I think I know there's the Beaufort in there. Is the Beaufort recent? I don't think it is.
I
2 years ago, I think
mine up at the start of the year, so possibly.
And the Admiral Hipper attack one was out last year.
Yeah, so I think that's the highlights. I think Corgi and HM have done a pretty good job. Oddly.
Yeah.
So Jamie, over to you.
Highlights this year. I haven't really bought much this year, but what I have bought is the Hobbymaster RF 101C Voodoo Jerry's Clown. I thought that was a spectacular model. And then the Southeast Asia Camo Vigilante. That was it. But I've been mainly buying the Hobbymaster 148 scale World War II fighters. So I've been trying to get Mark 1 Spitfires for the last God knows how long. So I managed to pick one up off eBay this week, and I want to get some of their Mustangs, but they're not painting the canopy frames, so I'm just not going to bother with those. The last few releases that have the canopy frame on the front, they haven't painted them. So, and I don't know whether I trust myself to do it, because I'm not that great. That's why I'm buying the die-cast models, because I don't have to paint them. So I don't know. We'll see, because I want to get the Red Tails P51. They did a D and a B model.
Mm-hmm.
Now the B model's fine. They painted the canopy on that, but not in the D series. But as you've seen from my one and only Facebook post this year, I've had other things on my mind apart from buying model aircraft. So next year I'm going to hit the ground running and buy everything that Corky releases.
Good lad, good lad. So for me, the big model for me this year was probably ML407. Obviously quite apt with Richard Grace's passing in October. I think it just absolutely nailed it. The Spitfire was stunning. The Mark 9 is a stunning piece of kit. All three releases have been, I'd say, relatively different. Obviously, we had the beer barrel, and then we had the Colin Gray and the Johnny Horton one, and look, it's great. Just absolutely stunning bit of kit. I think the Marauder, I know it had its issues. I know the undercarriage is a bit flimsy, and I know that unfortunately the scheme went across the joint line. But take that away, the execution of it is fantastic, and it's such a step on from the Forces of Valor version. Absolutely, I'm over the moon with it. I think the big thing for me in 2024 is I don't want to be all a bit camp and horrible and a bit sort of sensitive and that. I mean, it's been
a bit not normal for you though.
It's been a bit of a journey for me from like January through to now, and where I was sort of 12 months ago and where I am now, it feels like a completely different scenario because I've rediscovered my love for this. So I went obviously a couple of years where I didn't really buy any models. I only had like a couple here and there, and going through a messy relationship breakup, losing pretty much my entire collection. And I was all sort of set up in my man cave at home. I've not had access to that for over 18 months now.
Yeah.
And coming to my mum and dad's, I was I've got nowhere to collect. I've bought probably close to 100 models this year.
Wow.
And that is crazy. But part of the reason I've bought close to 100 models is I'm buying them cheap. And I've now discovered the love of airbrushing and co-freeing, and sort of give a bit of shout out to the likes of Gary and Dan, who have been there along the way with me, helping me with my teething troubles, with my frustrations with my airbrush and getting me set up, getting the right kit. And I've got to a stage now that I haven't done any this month because obviously the month coming up. I bloody enjoyed it. And if I look at the first one I did to the most recent one I did, I've done a lot of Southeast Asian Command P47s. I've come up really good. Of course, they're not perfect. I'm not going to say I'm not at Gary and Dan's level. Let's make that quite clear. But for my level, absolutely fantastic. I've just literally completed the night fighting Hurricane of the Battle Britain Memorial Fighter. One very, very similar. I think one of the serial codes is slightly different. And it's come up great. It's come up absolutely brilliant, and it looks the part. And I've used the right colour black, a NATO black that Gary said to use, and it looks the bollocks. It looks absolute bollocks. I haven't finished it off yet because I've just not had time this month. But I've really enjoyed that, and it's kept me sane. And doing
that's the main thing.
Yeah.
The model might not be perfect. None of mine have been perfect, but you've enjoyed it.
And that is it, And the big thing for me is that, for those who don't know, obviously, I'm in a relatively new relationship. When I say relatively new, it'll be 3 years in January. But, when I don't get to see her, like nights like tonight, it's really hard because I'm living at my mum and dad's, and my dad's got dementia. My mum is mad as a box of frogs, bless her. And I live in a room that is the size of a shoebox. And when you sit in there and, I'm not getting to see my boy, it's hard.
Yeah.
And you need something to distract you. There's only so much Fortnite you can play with your 10-year-old son before it drives you crazy. And to do stuff like this and, do Wings Monthly and have really exciting guests on and have a massive bunch of mates all in the same hobby, whether it be diecast, whether it be air shows, it's kept me going. And what it's done is it's pulled me out of the shit and got me thinking straight again. And I'm really grateful for everybody in and around me who's helped me do that. Because I haven't asked for help, but they've all helped without me having to ask, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's kept me keep my head above water. And, thankfully I'm out of that now. And this, these last 12 months have been it's been hard. It's been really, really hard. But I love this hobby again now. And, after sort of falling off a cliff, it's really good to be able to talk about this confidently have a laugh with like-minded people. And I've said this from the start. You know, Michael Lowe, what a guy he is. Crazy, absolute mental. Borderline registered sex offender as well. But I'm sure I might be saying that. But he's such a good lad, and you know, it's really important to have people like that around you, because you know, I put that message on the end of the thing I put on the other day. You know, there's people out there who you might not know are really having a shit time. It's really important you reach out and talk. And if you recognise that one of your mates is struggling, you reach out as well and talk to them, because I've had that without having to ask, and I've been really, really lucky, and I'm really, really grateful to have that around me. So yeah, look, that's 2024 for me. I don't want to get all sensitive
deep there,
emotional
didn't it?
on
Jesus, what?
you. You're crying, man. Are you crying? You've definitely slipped it.
There's definitely a tear in his
crying
eye
in pain from you going on, man.
No, look, it's been great, and look, you know, like I said, lots coming up. You know, some really exciting guests. You know, and you know, some, you know, it should be some good chats coming on. It's just trying to juggle everything and find the time is a challenge now, and
Still
that's
complaining
good.
about retail at Christmas. It's over in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I'll be over in 2 weeks, mate. I think that's it. But like I said today, you know, take the painkillers before the pain starts. Honestly, game changer. My back is held up today, just about. So look,
you'll be fine. That's carrying all those models you're buying. That's why your back's hurting.
Yeah, it's carrying this hobby on my back. That's what's broken me. Look, lads. Look, I'm prepared to wrap up. Is there anything you guys want to add before we sort of call it a night or a morning in Christian's case?
Everybody have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone, and hopefully Santa brings you everything you wanted, including a 1/48 scale Tomcat.
Anything from you, our Australian chum?
Merry Christmas, everyone, and also can I get on the Instagram live stream when you with Michael and?
No, don't let him. Don't let him.
I'll bring a bleep with me. I'll bring a bleep. Yes, look, I'll happily do that. What we might have to do is what I might do is like a rotational system like we did before. I thought that worked really, really well.
That worked.
I really enjoyed that, and it brings different faces in as well. But also,
it's a bit of tongue in cheek, so I don't know if they really want to see.
Putting it out there as well. Look, if you guys have a topic you want to discuss, I'm happy for you to run a Wins Monthly or an ad lib weekly thing on here, because you know, I'm sure people don't want to listen to me going on and on every night. You know, it's lovely to have different voices, different faces on there. You know, this is for you lot to talk about it, and you know, and really enjoy it as well. But look, thank you for dedicating your time tonight, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure, never a chore. I'm sure you can't say quite the same with me, but I really appreciate it. But all of yous three, I hope you have a brilliant Christmas, a great New Year. I'm sure I'll talk to you in between. But everybody who's watching, everybody who's been on the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, hope you have a brilliant Christmas and Happy New Year. And like Christian said, let's hope you've all made the good boys and girls list and non-binary list.
I'll shut you up.
I've got to be inclusive.
Rubbish, absolute crap.
And
you don't have.
If you identify as a carrot, you can identify as a carrot, sweetie. So look, I hope you have. So politically incorrect. Look, I hope you have a
what are they
Christmas.
doing to you?
Oh dear, I'm going to get this page shut down. It's going to come up with a community note or something at the bottom. Look, I hope you have a brilliant time. You know, spend lots of time with your family. Enjoy those moments, because believe you me, before you know it, your kid's just about to go to senior school, and it's all.
God, are you going on again? Are you going off again?
It's crazy.
Right. He's really emotional tonight, hasn't he?
I am.
Jesus Christ! Right, night, lads. I'm off.
Because I'm identifying as a woman as well now. Because do you know what? I can.
That's too many West Ham matches for you. That's what that is.
I tell you what, if that don't break you, nothing will. Honestly, that Spanish fraud. Don't get me started on it. It's almost like it's talking about the Condor again. Look,
supporting United.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up now before I get myself into any more controversy. Look, thanks for all watching, guys. Really, really enjoyed it. And I'll speak to you all soon.
See you later,
guys. Stay safe.
Lads.
Catch you all.
Bye.
Lads, thanks very much.